Hey, Futurist, Jim Carroll. For over 25 years, I've been speaking to organizations about trends, the future, and disruptive ideas. And after the economic meltdown of 2001, 2002, and the big global economic meltdown of 2008, 2009, I found myself on stage around the world with Fortune 1000 organizations and government advising them as to what they needed to do to align themselves to new realities, new degrees of uncertainty, and massive volatility everywhere they go. Now, I've put together a webpage, movingforward.jimcarroll.com, which captures a lot of that insight. It will feature this video, and it features other videos from those stage presentations on what I was advising organizations to do in this period of relentless uncertainty. This is critical guidance that you need right now, because you know that this new era of COVID-19, the ongoing pandemic, and economic volatility is changing everything. So I studied the attributes of what leaders did during these previous periods of economic indecision. And I found that, there were winners, there were losers, there were breakthrough performers. Those that did not become breakthrough performers shared a number of common attributes. And I studied these attributes and I determined a list of 10 things that were common to their inability to align themselves to the future and really become breakthrough performers. What did they do? Well, number one, they had a relentless fear of the unknown. And that fear drove inertia, because inertia in action became really easy to focus on. Number three, they avoided making the tough decisions that would align them to the future. They just sort of sat in their hands and said, well, we're going to wait for the future to happen. Number four, they were denying reality. They were denying reality of the scope of the change occurring in their industry. They were denying reality of the massive consumer and customer behavior change. They were denying the massive business model disruption that was occurring all around them. They really had a short-term focus. They didn't have a long-term vision of where they might find themselves in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. The future still unfolds in periods of economic uncertainty, and you've got to align yourself to those realities. Number six, they really accelerated their risk-adverse culture. They were unwilling to try to do anything new, and that held them back. What that led to was a fear of failure. They became paralyzed by their inability to take risks because they perceived the risk of failure would be so massive. They didn't act fast enough. My main mantra has always been that the future belongs to those who are fast. And actually, in a period of economic uncertainty, speed rules, speed matters, velocity is everything. It is your ability to move forward quickly which will really define your future. They avoided new concepts. It's kind of funny, during a recession, a lot of new ideas, a lot of new business models, a lot of billion-dollar markets are launched. And the organizations that didn't succeed with the future failed to grab onto those new concepts. They lost their confidence. They were so hammered by what was going on around them in terms of the volatility, in terms of the uncertainty, in terms of the massive change occurring with the downturn, that they really lost their confidence in their ability to align to the future. And this is what we need to guard against as we go forward into this new, fast, and complex economy. We need to be very careful. And I want you to watch a video that you will find on my webpage, movingforward.jimcarroll.com. It's actually from Salt Lake City early in September 2010. And I was talking to 3,000 individuals as to what they needed to do to ensure that they could get into this breakthrough performer mindset, to be a part of the recovery, focusing on ideas, focusing on innovation, focusing on creativity, and moving themselves forward. And that's the critical thing that you need to do right now in this new era of the relentless ongoing pandemic. We are going to be in this reality for quite some period of time, and it is going to be your ability to align to all the volatility that comes with this new reality, which will really define your future success. I want you to be thinking about the strategies that you need to pursue and what you need to do to align yourself to these new realities. Now, at the same time that I observed what organizations were doing to fail at the future, I observed what it was that these breakthrough performers were focused on. They didn't wait for someone to determine their future. They didn't wait on the provision of clarity as to how things were going to unfold. They simply decided that action was better than inaction. They took on more risk. Volatility demands that we take on more risk. Number three, they stopped seeking certainty. They decided that uncertainty was going to be their guiding factor going forward, and they were going to align their corporate culture to that reality. Number 4, they were willing to pursue the unknown. One of my favorite phrases I used to use on stage in the olden days when I was down in Las Vegas speaking to thousands was, we don't know exactly where we're going with the future, but we're making great time. Number 5, they motivated their team. People are worried, people are concerned, people are uncertain about the future, and the leaders of these breakthrough organizations relentlessly focused on providing their team a positive message, and a long-term message that this is where we believe we are going to end up. They were pursuing big ideas. One of my books is called Think Big, Start Small, Scale Fast, and actually during this period of uncertainty, it is a great time to think big because big ideas are being launched and pursued at this very moment. Number 7, speed up. I used to say on stage before the global pandemic that we live in the era of acceleration, that everything is becoming faster. And if you look around at some of the trends unfolding, it is becoming faster still. And it is our ability to align to speed, to pick up the pace, to adapt faster to all these changes occurring around us that will really define our success. Revisit your old future, adjust the timing. There were a whole bunch of trends that were impacting you before the big global economic meltdown that came with this pandemic and all this new uncertainty that's around us. But the old future has not gone away. Some of the trends have been deferred, some have been accelerated. You need to put your old future on a new timeline and examine those trends in the context of these new realities. Number 9, breakthrough performers were bold. History will not reward the timid. History does not reward those who sit back and wait for the future to happen. It rewards those who make the future. And number 10, and the most important one, was be a fast leader, not a slow follower. In periods of uncertainty, you've got to set the pace. You've got to provide the initiative and the speed to move forward into this future. And that's what I'm focused on with a group of clients, with a number of organizations who are seeking to understand what do we do to become a breakthrough performer in a period of relentless economic uncertainty. Now on this webpage, movingforward.jimcarroll.com, you will find a number of videos from previous keynotes where I'm talking about what it is these leaders did to focus on the future and not the current reality. I want you to visit that page, and I want you to reach out to me, and I'll bring you into my home broadcast studio and give you a tour of what I can accomplish from this virtual studio to take your leadership team forward into the era of acceleration. That's it for now. Futurist Jim Carroll from the home broadcast studio.